Shalom Lichulam! Hello everyone! Welcome to part 3 of our lesson series on Hebrew prefixes. Let's now take a close look at the prefix vav. The prefix vav is a conjunction that means and. A conjunction joins two parts of speech. So the Hebrew word which means and is written with this letter, the letter vav. That's why we call this a conjunctive vav. So when you see the letter vav attached to another word, that means and it can be pronounced in 4 ways. Ve is the general pronunciation of the conjunctive vav, unless the criteria below are present. U is the pronunciation when it is attached to a labial consonant such as m, v, b, p, or f. So these are consonants that are pronounced by pressing the lips together. M, b, f, p. And we'll see more examples of that in a little while. V may be the pronunciation when it is attached to a word beginning with a Y sound, yeah, though this is not always the case. And Va is the pronunciation when it is attached to a stressed vowel. So to better understand, how that is applied, let's look at examples. Here we have examples of the prefix vav, which means and, being pronounced as ve. So in the first example we have yom ve'layla. Yom means day, layla means night, and here the prefix vav, the letter vav, is pronounced as ve. That means and. Yom ve'layla. Yom ve'layla. That means day and night. The second example is Ima ve'aba. Ima ve'aba. Ima means mom and Abba means dad. Of course, ve means and. We pronounce the conjunctive vav as ve in this case, so we say Ima ve'aba. Ima ve'aba. Mom and dad. A third example of pronouncing the conjunctive vav as ve is when we say Adam and Eve. Adam ve'chava. Adam is the way we say Adam in Hebrew, and Chava is how we say Eve in Hebrew. So Adam ve'chava means Adam and Eve. Note that in these examples, the word attached to the prefix vav is pronounced with the lips apart. The mouth is thus in an open position in Layla, Abba, Chava. So when the attached word has the lips apart, right, when we pronounce them, we use the pronunciation ve. Yom ve'layla, Ima ve'aba, Adam ve'chava. Try saying that and you'll see that your mouth is open when you start pronouncing the word that's being attached to the conjunctive vav. Now let's practice reading. Yom ve'layla. Yom ve'layla. Ima ve'aba. Ima ve'aba. Adam ve'chava. Adam ve'chava. Now let's look at the instances when we pronounce the conjunctive vav as u. In the first example we have Abba u ben. Abba u ben. Abba means dad and ben means son. But we don't pronounce the and, the conjunctive vav, as ve. We don't say Abba ve ben. Why is that? As we said earlier, we pronounce the conjunctive prefix vav as u when the word that is being attached to the vav is pronounced with the lips being pressed together. In this case, ben is the Hebrew word for son, is being attached to the conjunctive vav. So ben starts with a b sound. And say it now, ben. If you say the word ben, you'll notice that your lips are being pressed together to pronounce the b sound of ben. So that's clearly a case when we should pronounce the Hebrew word for and, which is spelled by the letter vav, as u and not as ve. So instead of saying Abba ve ben, we say Abba u ben, Abba u ben, dad and son. The second example is the way we say Happy New Year during the Jewish New Year in Hebrew. Shana tova umetuka. Shana tova umetuka. So shana means year. Tova is the feminine adjective which means good. And metuka is a feminine adjective which means sweet. So literally this is saying year, good, and sweet. But of course the intentional meaning is good and sweet year. So this is how we say Happy New Year during the Jewish New Year called Rosh Hashanah. Shana tova umetuka. Shana tova, good year, u and metuka, sweet. So instead of saying Shana tova ve metuka, to say Shana tova, a good year, ve and sweet. No, that's not how we say it. We say Shana tova umetuka. Umetuka. We use the pronunciation u because the word that is being attached to the conjunctive vav is metuka. Pronounce that metuka. And you'll see that your lips are pressing together when you pronounce the m sound of metuka. So note that in these cases, the word attached to the vav is pronounced with the lips pressed together. So in these cases, we pronounce the vav as u. So let's say these two examples again. Abba u ben. Abba u ben. Shana tova umetuka. Shana tova umetuka. Now let's practice reading this. Ani ba'al Abba u ben. Ani ba'al Abba u ben. Ani, I am. Abba is dad. Ba'al is husband. And the conjunctive vav is pronounced as u here instead of ve. And of course we have the Hebrew word for son, which is ben. Ani ba'al Abba u ben. I'm a husband, dad, and son. Now let's practice saying Shana tova umetuka. Shana tova umetuka. Shana, year. Tova, good. Metuka, sweet. So note that Shana is a feminine noun. The Hebrew word for year is a feminine noun. So to describe it as good, we don't say tov, we say tova. And to describe it as sweet, we don't say matok, the masculine way of saying sweet. We say metuka, which is the feminine form of the adjective sweet. Shana tova umetuka. Shana tova umetuka. Let's see some more examples of pronouncing the conjunctive prefix vav as u. So we say melach u pilpel. Melach u pilpel, that's salt and pepper. Hummus u falafel. Hummus u falafel. Hummus and falafel. Chalav udvash. Chalav udvash. That's milk and honey. And we do refer to the land of Israel as the land of milk and honey. So to say milk and honey in Hebrew, we say chalav udvash. So note once again that in these cases, the word being attached to the vav is pronounced with the lips pressed together. So pilpel, p, pilpel, falafel, f, your lips are pressing together, and dvash, dvash, so you see your lips coming together. So in these cases, we don't say melach ve pilpel, we don't say hummus ve falafel, that's wrong. Chalav ve dvash, no. We pronounce the conjunctive vav as u in these cases when the word being attached to the vav make your lips press together. So melach u pilpel, hummus u falafel, chalav u dvash. So to summarize, when the word being attached to the conjunctive vav is pronounced with a m, b, v, f, or p, we pronounce the conjunctive vav as u. Now let's practice reading. Melach u pilpel, melach u pilpel. Hummus u falafel, hummus u falafel. Chalav u dvash, chalav u dvash. Now, a third possibility of pronouncing the conjunctive vav is to pronounce it as V, though this is not all really applied in all cases. So let's look at the first example where it is applied. Zroa v'yad. Zroa means arm and yad means hand. And of course, the Hebrew word for hand, yad, begins with a y sound. So the rule says that V may be the pronunciation when it is attached to a word beginning with a y sound. So here the rule applies. Zroa v'yad. Zroa v'yad. But look at the other example. Choreh v'yeled. Choreh v'yeled. The Hebrew word for choreh, of parent is choreh. And the Hebrew word for child is yeled. So why aren't we pronouncing the conjunctive vav as V? Well, that's just the way it is. Just like in any language, sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. So we just need to increase our vocabulary through time, and the more we encounter situations like this, the more we would remember them. But that's just how it is. But know for sure that there is indeed a rule that says that there are quite a good number of cases when the conjunctive vav is pronounced as V when it is attached to a word beginning with a y sound. Now let's practice reading. Zroa v'yad, zroa v'yad, choreh v'yeled, choreh v'yeled. And finally, the conjunctive prefix vav may be pronounced as va when it is attached to a stressed vowel. Let's see some examples. Sha'a v'chetzi. Sha'a v'chetzi. Literally, that means hour and half. Sha'a means hour and chetzi means half. That's how we say an hour and a half. Sha'a v'chetzi. So you'll see that there's a stress point on chetzi. It's rapidly spoken. V'chetzi, v'chetzi. So there's stress on the next sound. So we say sha'a v'chetzi. Sha'a v'chetzi. It's not like saying ima ve'aba. It's soft and quite relaxed in the way we say Abba, ve'Abba. But here, sha'a v'chetzi. There's a rapid way of saying the next word, so that we call that a stress point. So sha'a v'chetzi. Now let's look at the other example. Hem v'anachnu. Hem v'anachnu. Hem means them, and anachnu means us. And here we don't say hem ve'anachnu or hem u'anachnu, no. Because anachnu is said rapidly, there's a stress point on anachnu, like hetzi. Sha'a v'chetzi, hem v'anachnu. So we pronounce the conjunctive vav as va, hem v'anachnu. So let's say those words, those examples again. Sha'a v'chetzi, hem v'anachnu. Let's practice reading again. Sha'a v'chetzi, hem v'anachnu, hem v'anachnu. So to recap, the prefix vav is a conjunction that means and that a conjunction joins two parts of speech. And we also saw that this conjunctive vav means and that it can be pronounced in 4 ways: ve, u, vi, and va. So this wraps up our lesson on the prefix vav, pronounced as ve, u, vi, or va, depending on the context. In the next video of our Hebrew prefixes series, we're going to look closely at the prefix lamed. The prefix lamed is generally pronounced as le, except for some cases. So that would be our next lesson. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and found it useful and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our Hebrew for Learners channel and hit the notification bell so you get updated on new video releases. Leitraot. Hope to see you next time. Bye.